calling all agents. We have an inbound blizzard warning. We have to get the cure and get out before the storm hits.
Come on, move it! We don't have much time!
Shit. You've got enemies moving in on your location. Get out of there.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Like Butter here, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that trailer that dropped today over on the Ubisoft US channel. I'll put a link to that in the description if you want to go check it out there. But wow, it's finally time. 1.5 is going to be dropping for Xbox One, PC, and in a few days on PS4. And then obviously we have Survival coming out for Xbox One and PC, and then for PS4 a month later. So, as always, it's time to go over the patch notes. I do this with every single patch that comes out for the Division. I feel like it hasn't been that long ago that we just did one of these because 1.4 obviously dropped not too long ago. So, let's get right into the patch notes. As always, I have a link to the patch notes in the description if you want to read along with me, or if you want to just sit back, I'll read it to you. We'll go over it and you can just watch some gameplay. Okay, so it says right on the top, expansion to Survival. Please note that you must own the Survival DLC to gain access to this content. So there's been a little bit of confusion about the difference between 1.5 and Survival. Survival is a DLC game mode that can help you get loot where it's like an open world, 24-player fight to the death game mode. That's the only paid DLC that's in this expansion. 1.5 is the update that adds the new weapons, new exotic items, new gear score, and all that stuff. So there's going to be a lot of free stuff. I think a lot of people really don't understand how many free things are coming in this update. So let's go over it here. It says here 1.5, the following content changes and bug fixes are available to Xbox One and PC players on November 22nd and slightly later on PS4. I think they said that it was going to be Thursday, which will be 2 days, but maybe that got pushed back a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. So if you're on PS4, use this time to get as many credits as you can, because I believe that the selling amount of credits that you get now is going to be nerfed pretty hard, because it was kind of ridiculous at 1.4, let's be honest. So use this extra time to get as many credits as you can so that you can buy a bunch of caches when 1.5 finally drops. Okay, so it says added World Tier 5 bracket. This is for the Dark Zone 224 plus. Enemy NPCs are level 34. Maximum gear score is raised to 256. Heroic incursions are now available in Tier 5 only, which means that the heroic incursions just got pushed to World Tier 5, that's all. Named gear items have been implemented in the game. One piece is available for each gear slot, and each one comes with a unique talent. Named gear items can only be acquired in World Tier 5 or in Survival game mode. So you're going to need to get to World Tier 5 in order to get these items. They're like exotic items, and the reason for that is because if you could get them at lower levels, you know, the unique talents would have to scale and all that stuff, and that would be a huge headache. So exotic items are in the game. It's dope. They're also, like, you could call them named items. You'll see like gold printing now when you see a named weapon or a named item, so it won't be, you know, too confusing. So for the mask, it's Pharaoh's oxygen mask, which is one of the ones you've heard me talk a lot about, because this is going to be my favorite, because the Firecrest builds in the Dark Zone have become so frustrating. You know, being on fire constantly is really, really annoying. So when you're on fire and you have the burn status effect on you, you're going to be able to still sprint and also shoot your weapons. So this is going to be a must-have for people who like to PvP in the Dark Zone. Now, you know, the flame turrets are so incredibly tanky and so hard to take out that sometimes you just have to end up running away. Here, you'll be able to continuously shoot and help your team down the person that's using Firecrest, and you'll be able to get rid of that flame turret as soon as you kill him. So the short bow championship knee pads are the knee pads that make the fuse on your grenades a little bit shorter. I think it was 0.2 in the PTS. I'm not sure if they tweaked that a little bit or not. We'll have to see. Colonel Bliss's holster, powerful improvements for sidearms. I believe your sidearms do extra damage, and you also can disrupt somebody if you hit them with 10 shots, something like that. Skull's MC gloves increase damage when no gear set bonuses are active, which is going to be really good for all high-end sets. It's going to be like the only reason to really build them. So that's going to be pretty cool. Barrett's bulletproof chest piece. This is going to be a popular one as well. But don't forget, these items are going to be kind of hard to get. So to get the rolls that you want, you're going to have to do a lot of farming. So I'm excited for that. But Barrett's chest piece, basically it gives you different bonuses depending on how many skills you have on cooldown, which is going to be cool. And then it says Ninja Bike Messenger Bag, less DZ loot and DZ XP loss when dying in the Dark Zone. I don't know if they changed that. In the PTS, you could like save an item from dropping, so maybe they changed that a little bit. I have no idea, so we'll have to wait and see. Enemy armor damage now functions in PvP. Damage calculation in PvP ignores a percentage of the target's armor equal to 1/3 of the shooter's enemy armor damage, which means you're going to take your enemy armor damage, you're going to multiply it by 0.3, and that's going to be the amount of armor that you're going to ignore when shooting another player. Stagger now also functions in PvP. High stagger weapons such as shotguns and marksman rifles primarily will now cause the target's aim to flinch. So what they did is in PvP, the stagger, instead of like knocking you back or slowing you or knocking you to the left or right, it's going to instead just move your aim a little bit, which I think is pretty cool because shotguns are getting a big nerf, which you're going to see here in a little bit. So this will make it more of a utility weapon, and maybe you can like focus somebody down and help your team get a certain player out of the fight. Tactical Advance, this talent will now provide a maximum of 30% damage increase, which is good because Tactical Advance was kind of causing some problems in the Dark Zone where people were using that feature just to get extra damage. So now that that's nerfed, that's good. People probably won't use it as much. Stash size is being increased from 70 to 150 items. That's awesome. That's more than double. And also the stash doesn't lag anymore. They found some sort of different way to run it where it won't skip frames when you go into your inventory. Alright, so let's go over loot rewards and vendors. NPCs now have a chance to drop crafting materials, which is good because it's going to make crafting more viable, since if you're getting more materials, you can spend more on crafting, so that's cool. Chances to drop higher quality increases with world tiers, so that's good as well. They're basically making it so that if you want to get more gear drops or more item drops, you're going to have to go up in world tier. A lot of people have been kind of exploiting that and going to lower world tiers to get more things faster, so that's good. Season Pass open world supply drops will now scale with your world tier. Items in scavenging crate in the base of ops will now scale with world tier as well, so that's good. You know, that one crate in the base of operations that no one really gets because it's usually got like a green, a blue, or a purple item in them. Now it's going to be worth picking that up because you may get a God Roll 256 weapon, so we'll have to wait and see. We have adjusted the credits and Phoenix credits rewards for main missions, high value targets, and incursions to better scale with world tier, so that's another one of those things so people don't go to lower world tiers just to grind things quicker. This results in overall increasing from world tier 4 and above. Modified awards for completing weekly assignments. Move 30 Phoenix credits from the weekly assignment reward to put them inside the weekly assignment cache. The total amount is still the same. Added one extra high-end mod inside the weekly assignment cache. Alright, so let's talk about the weapon changes. So, talents. Swift got a pretty hefty buff, which is good. The reload speed has been increased from 15% to 25%. Is this still going to be a talent you're going to use? Probably not. I think it's just not worth, you know, not taking one of the other talents for Swift, but For those of you guys who liked Swift before, you'll like it even more now. Provident has been removed from World Tier 5 drops, which basically means that they're just taking it out of the game for future content. And the reason they're doing this is because there was a problem with the M700 where Provident would proc on every single shot, since you have to, you know, it's a bolt action, you put a bullet in after every shot. So Provident is removed. So that's pretty good. I have to say, like, that was an annoying thing. People are just one-shotting people in the dark zone stuff. So hurried, focused, and disciplined are no longer exclusive to the PP19, G36, and the SVD. So what this means is that you're going to be able to get hurried on like the MP7. This is enormous. I can't explain how important it is to get hurried on your MP7. Hurried was the only reason I would run Alpha Bridge, and then I would basically just use a PP19 as my secondary. Now you're going to be able to use like an MP7 with Predator's Mark and just have like, I don't know, brutal destructive hurried, something like that, or brutal vicious hurried, and that's going to be really, really good, and I think it's going to work out a lot for you guys for that, like the MP7. Hipfire now has stronger recoil than aiming down sights. The strength of this effect varies between weapon types from most impacted to the least impacted. Marksman rifles, LMGs, assault rifles, SMGs, shotguns, and pistols. So SMGs are going to be a little bit harder to hip fire now, and so are assault rifles, and LMGs and marksman rifles are definitely going to be almost impossible to hip fire. So if you're using an MG5, you better get used to aiming, because yeah, that's going to be pretty hard to run around and hip fire that thing. So the Vector got a buff that we actually didn't see in the PTS. It says Vector 45 ACP and First Wave Vector 45 ACP base magazine size increased to 25, which I think will make the Vector more viable. With the Vector having only 20 bullets, it was very hard and you kind of needed to have hurried. Now with 25, if you can get over a 100% mag size, I think you'll get like anywhere between like 52 to 53 rounds in a magazine. I think that's going to be enough to see the Vector have some more play here in the future. MP7 base damage increased by 9%. Originally in the PTS, it was increased by 16%. They reverted some of that damage because the MP7 turned into like what it was in 1.3. So for the LMG changes, damage to targets out of cover has been slightly reduced, so that bonus on the LMGs. M60 base damage has been reduced by 3%. The M60 and the M249 now take longer to reach full accuracy when fired. The Hungry Hog base damage was reduced by 13% to prevent a scaling overlap with the implementation of World Tier 5. So that's good. I think the Hungry Hog was a little bit too strong, and I think people were going for that just because of how strong it was. Shotguns. Here's where you guys are going to be pretty excited. The shotguns got nerfed drastically. Lowered the strength of aim assist for shotguns, lowered the effect of accuracy on shotguns, headshot base bonus reduced from 80% to 60%, the showstopper accuracy while in cover has been reduced, and the M870 has gotten a 12% base damage reduction as well. So shotguns are definitely not going to be 1 to 2 shot monsters anymore. They're going to be more utility weapons that people are going to use to help their team rather than just walk up and one shot an entire squad. Added 12 new weapon types. We have 2 versions of the MG5. We have the FAMAS. We have 3 versions of the M700. We have a converted USC submachine gun. We have 2 versions of the UMP. And we have 3 versions of the Rhino. And then they also added 4 new high-end named weapons, which is the Golden Rhino, the Urban MDR assault rifle, which the Urban MDR is the blind rifle. It just got renamed with a different third talent, the Tommy gun, and the Thompson M1928. And I almost forgot that the 93R isn't in this list because hashtag blame Gabe for this one. He forgot to put it in the patch notes, but just know that the 93R, which is a burst pistol, is also going to be added in the game in this patch. So there was some changes to gear sets as well. Final Measure got a little bit of a buff. The 4-piece is now that grenades can be picked up every 8 seconds instead of every 15 seconds, which means like you can defuse grenades every 8 seconds, which will be a little bit more viable, I think. Hunter's Faith got a bit of a nerf. The 3-piece went from headshot bonus 20% down to 10%, but it's still going to be useful because if you remember correctly, the headshot damage on gear set bonuses is multiplicative and not additive, so 10% is still going to be a lot, and Hunter's Faith is still going to be very viable. Frontline has been added. 2 pieces is 15% protection from elites. 3 pieces is 30% ballistic shield health, and the 4 piece allows an SMG if one is equipped when ballistic shield is deployed. SMG crit chances reduced to 0%. So basically, the 4 piece of Frontline, you can use an SMG, but your crit chance goes to 0. Now, it was called defense in the PTS. I'm assuming they changed it back to Frontline. Frontline was like the original name for it, and maybe they just didn't want it to be defense, so I guess it's going to be changed back to Frontline. So there was some changes to skills as well. For Pulse, all mods except Recon Pack decreased lifetime by 20% from 25 seconds to 20 seconds, so the Pulse duration kind of got nerfed here. The Recon Pack increased lifetime from 14.3% from 17.5 seconds to 20 seconds. So the Recon Pack, which I'm not even sure which pulse that is, got increased. Tactical Scanner increased cooldown by 10% from 60 to 66 seconds, so Tactical Scanner got nerfed a little bit. First Aid Defibrillator got a little bit of a buff, increased ally heal by 10% from 1500 to 1650. Overdose got a little bit of a nerf, decreased self heal by 10% from 1500 to 1350. Increased cooldown by 10% from 60 seconds to 66 seconds, so that's a little bit of a nerf there to Overdose. The support station, all mods except Immunizer got buffed. It increased lifetime by 10% from 20 seconds to 22 seconds, so if you like using a healing station when you're playing solo, this is going to give you a little bit longer duration on that. Sticky Bomb got a little bit of a buff. The base skill and proximity fuse decreased cooldown from 10% from 90 seconds to 81 seconds. BFB decreased cooldown by 4.8% from 105 seconds to 100 seconds. So will we see more BFBs? Probably not. The BFB doesn't do what it used to, so it's going to be very hard. Unless someone is speccing really strong in skill power, I doubt we'll see BFB being used. Seeker Mine Cluster got a bit of a nerf, decreased the bleed duration by 25% from 8 seconds to 6 seconds. This is really good because this is what made Cluster overpowered. It wasn't so much the damage, it was just the fact that they would make you bleed for such a long time. So now it's going to go from 8 to 6 seconds, which plus if you have like bleed resistance, it's going to remove that even more. So it won't be as annoying as it was. For the ballistic shield, NPCs are going to do 10% more damage because ballistic shields could literally sit there and just tank forever if people were using the Frontline build. So Smart Cover got a little bit of a nerf. I'm not sure why, except Trapper. Decreased skill power impact on damage resistance, weapon stability, and weapon accuracy buffs by 20% from 150% to 120%. So another nerf to Smart Cover. Tactical Link and Survivor Link got a buff, so they're going to be lasting 1 second longer. So that's interesting. PC only, there's now a radial menu for emotes, so you don't need to keybind it. You can just like, hit a button and then use the same way that you would use consumables. And there's a bunch of bug fixes, which I don't really need to go into detail about. So those are the patch notes for 1.5. If you want to read them in more detail, like I said, there's a link in the description. You can read them there. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to drop the video a like and let me know in the comment section below if you're excited for 1.5 as much as I am. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Take care, everybody.